Hey guys, kinggath here with some mod news. I feel like I haven't done one of these in ages. I was going to try to do these on a weekly or bi-weekly basis instead of monthly, but the monthly really works out just to make sure I have some stuff for you guys. And this time we do have some stuff. We've got some add-on packs. I think several of these I haven't talked about yet. I think one I may have already talked about, but it's worth repeating, giving another shout out to it because it solves a problem that SS2 has. And we also have to talk about the city plan contest. We've got an update to the add-on makers toolkit for some of the 2.0 features, and I want to thank the patrons especially today because they've allowed us to solve some problems we would not have been able to without their support. So speaking of patrons, let's give a few shout outs here. So shout out and thank you to Hi AF, Gray Wolf, JD Lindsay, Vita1KA, I don't know how you're supposed to say that, Vital K, Shade of the Light, Oppressor, Swalite Man, Darian Caldwell, Limping Tortoise, and Flame Ducky. And if you didn't get shouted out today and you did sign up for the Patreon recently, don't worry, I will catch your name soon. I'm slowly catching up through that list. Maybe one day I'll get there. I think I've been saying that for like 2 years now and I've never once caught up. But we're slowly making our way through the list, and we will get you the shout out you guys are due. Now, speaking of that, let's give a double shout out to the patrons in general. So recently with SS2's Chapter 2 launch, we had a couple of major bugs that we just did not have the tools available to resolve. We've been unable to figure out why these long saves are coming up and why the HQ cell was resetting for a lot of players. And thankfully, we were able to put out some bounties, thanks to your guys' generous donations for the Patreon. And we were able to get the attention of some people with the skill sets that we do not have on the team or in our community so far, and they have already found the cause of one of them, the HQ reset bug, and have a pretty strong lead on the long save bug. Long save one's going to take us some time to sort out because it's going to require a lot of code manipulation to get things working, but we're digging in there. We've got some leads now, and just want to say thank you for the patience. Without you guys, we would not have been able to afford the generous bounties we put out that drew the appropriate attention. Now, it's not to say that we couldn't have asked those folks who ended up helping us with those problems, but I think the bounty definitely gets people out of bed and putting in the effort they may not have otherwise. So it's a huge boon. I don't anticipate us doing this very often, if ever again, but there are certain aspects of the Fallout 4 engine I just know nothing about and don't have the ability to troubleshoot those currently. So there are occasions where there's a problem we just need help with, and this was kind of an emergency pull so far. Any problem similar to this we've been able to sort out over the 5 years we've been doing some settlements, and this is the first time this has ever happened. Unfortunately, there were 2 of these issues in here, and hopefully we never run into one again, but I'm thankful that you patrons were there to have our backs, and now we're going to have all of these nasty bugs worked out. So that means we're soon going to get to regular scheduled content patches. So once we get these 2 nasty bugs fixed, I'm going to move us into the regular patch cycle where we're doing bi-weekly. That will also include content. So it won't just be bug fixes. There will be quality of life changes, new interface options, some new content. We've got a couple of quests that are almost ready to go, some new encounters. We've got new outfits for NPCs, and we are going to try for anything where we need to add new assets. We're going to try and make that SS2 extended only because we know Xbox players, you guys are crying for more space right now. We're really smashing your space, and some of you guys have been questioning how the hell we're going to fit Chapter 3 on Xbox. We're going to figure it out. That's months away yet. So let's move on to the next thing, which is add-on packs. I haven't done an add-on pack coverage in quite a while. In fact, some of these you guys are long aware of, but I'm going to go over them anyway. So the first one I want to talk about is one that a lot of you guys probably already have because it was launched the same day as SS2, and that is Superstructures by FFT Fan or VFX or XV Versus. Goes by many different names depending on what platform you know him on. And he has recently added Altair P's Animal Farm, Vaultland, and Another Brick in the Wall. These were all popular SS1 add-on packs that didn't get ported by their authors, but they gave him permission to do so with those. And from what I understand, he's got some others in the works as well. So big thanks to XV for porting these forward. So if you haven't been using SS2 Superstructures, you should go check it out because it's probably one of the biggest add-on packs to date now, thanks to all of this porting. All right, next up, we've got a massive one for Minutemen fans, but I will warn that it has a lot of mod requirements, but if you're a huge Minutemen fan, you're probably using most of these mods anyway. So for those of you guys who can use it on PC, check out For the Minutemen, The Rise of Independence by Addons. This is a huge add-on pack that not only includes building plans, but also includes quests, voice quests, which is something we don't see very often. So I'm very excited to see that. So go check out that add-on if you're a huge Minutemen fan. All right, then we've got a patch. So there's been 2 mods that we have conflicted because of our door, actually 3 because of our doors. Now we have a solution in our holotape, but it's not ideal because you'd have to know about the holotape fix. And obviously it's just cumbersome to have to go in and do it. So one of those mods is Gun for Hire, and Space Droner has released a patch for that. And basically this will move our door that's kind of clipping in with theirs and move ours to another part of a similar building, and so it will be a seamless experience for you. Now, if you run into that elsewhere where a SS2 door is blocking something, I just want to remind everybody, go into Tools, and then there's a hijack section that will appear if one of these doors exists in the world, and you can disable any of our doors and then re-enable them later so that you can get access to quest content from other mods that we may be blocking. Now, long term, I think what we're going to do is next to any of our doors, we're going to put like a little doorbell there or something so that you can just activate it to toggle ours, bring up a menu that says turn it off or turn it on. That way, no matter what, players have an in-game solution without having to mess around with the holotape, because I know the holotape's not very intuitive right now, but it's been one of those things that's on the backlog for when we start to getting regular patches, since right now our focus is on all of these hotfixes. All right, next up, we've got Delay Sim Settlements 2. The city planners rejoice. I know a lot of them have been asking me to put this in the main mod, and I actually probably will at some point, but in the meantime, M. Salaba has covered you guys. There's a holotape you get to start up the main quest for SS2 rather than it automatically starting. So basically you get to choose when Jake appears instead of Jake choosing. So if you've been wanting to have SS2 installed without the quest starting immediately, this is the mod for you. All right, now next is one where I'm pretty sure I've covered it, but I'm going to cover it again because it solves a problem for SS2 that I thought we were going to fix with the 2.0 patch, but we just had to cut the content and move it to post-launch or Chapter 3. And that is called Sim Settlements 2 Excess Resource Manager by CBR Gamer 3. And what this does is adds a terminal that will allow you to discard resources from the Sim Settlements 2 virtual system that you don't need. So one of the problems in the late game or even mid game with SS2, if you're building a lot of the different industrial types, especially when you've got the multiple different classes of it, so when you're up to like the rare materials and machine parts, especially if you're playing on the component difficulty where you've got all the different 31 or whatever number it is components available, that you can end up with a problem where you have to perpetually build more junk storage in order to have room for the expensive resources. And so then you just get overloaded with all these giant containers everywhere, and it's really obnoxious. So what this does is allows you to discard some of those lower end resources you don't need anymore. Now there is an in-mod solution, but it takes a while to get to, and some of you probably don't know that it's there, and that is conversion plots. So what we've created is there's a building plan that will chew up one or two different resources, generally on the lower tier, and converts them into stuff on the higher tier. But most of those are only available not only after you unlock the conversion class, but after you start using the Mark 1 beacon a lot to start finding the discoveries, which are adding those new high-tech building plans. Now, if you don't want to wait for that and you want to try and solve your excess resource problem with those conversion plots, if you go into the holotape under Tools Cheats, there is a way to force unlock all the building plans so that you don't have to get into the beacon system for the unlocks. But also, you have access to CBR Gamer 3's fix. Now, ultimately, we are going to add a system for manipulating resources, but for now, it could be a while. So for now, check out Excess Resource Manager by CBR Gamer 3. Okay, beyond add-on packs, let's talk about the world repopulation system. So this is one I cannot wait to see what add-on pack authors do with. And if you're not familiar with the world repopulation system, basically we arranged it so that as your settlements in an area set up their caravan networks with the caravan services plots and start producing excess resources, so excess food, excess water, excess power, they will start to contribute to nearby non-settlement locations. Now, in the initial release, this is currently just Concord, which is enabled, but eventually we would like to cover the entire game world. Now, in order to pull that off, we're going to need a lot of help because there's a huge world. There are a lot of buildings to cover. And what it ends up doing is as the excess resources go to those places, they will start getting populated. So if you've started to notice in Concord, you have people called Concord Settler wandering around. If you follow them around, you'll find that some of them have moved into the derelict buildings. You'll be able to identify which buildings they've moved in because there'll be a little lantern next to the door. And if you go into their house, you'll be able to see all the stuff that they built in there and everything. And it's mostly just for flavor and to make things feel like growth. Eventually, we anticipate there'll be houses with quests and things, or cool loot you can grab, or whatever. And the system is designed to be very open-ended. So not only will we be creating interiors for you guys to explore, but other add-on pack authors can inject their own to the pool. In addition, if for those of you who want to help expand the system, you can help us by adding more doors, creating more templates, adding more regions outside of Concord, and you can kind of help the team by getting those prepared and submitting them to me for a merge. And all of that information Whether you're an existing add-on pack author or someone new to the scene who's maybe gone through some of my Bethesda Mod School tutorials and kind of has gotten their feet wet and know the basics, you can start doing that stuff right now. The World Repopulation system is fully documented on the Add-on Makers Toolkit. And now that we have the HQ reset bug fixed, I will start documenting HQ as well, which is the other big new system that people can contribute content to. So I'd love to see new HQ rooms from you guys, or maybe even whole new HQs. That would be really, really cool. But that will come in the future. But right now, World Repopulation system fully documented, ready to go. If you've done any light design work in the CK, just tossing items around. It's really, really simple. This is probably the easiest add-on pack content you can imagine creating, is the World Repop stuff. And I think it'll have a huge impact, especially later on when we start seeing people inject quests and stuff into it, or other rewards that you can find inside of those buildings. All right, last but certainly not least, let's talk about the City Plan contest. So I got a couple things to discuss here. Before we do any of that, we got to shout out and congratulate Crying Cube 2, who took down the latest City Plan contest with this really cool build of Oberland Station. So go check that out. His and all of the other, well, I guess I shouldn't assume his. This Crying Cube and all other builds are available on Nexus right now. If you're ever looking for new city plans, if you go to the Nexus page under the Fallout section, or Fallout 4 section, go to mods and categories. We have our own category for some settlements too. If you sort it by reverse date order, which it should be by default, you'll see that city plan contest entries are getting submitted directly there so that you can download them. We also have a section on our forums where the city plan contest entrants are submitting their entries so everyone sees them, so that's another great spot to find them quickly. If you're interested in joining the city plan contest, we do one every month, and you can join in and get a chance to win really cool prizes. We've also got a huge community that's built up around these, so our forums are very active. Some of the forum members and constant contestants, I guess we'll say, have started up a Discord where anyone's allowed to join up, and you guys can talk about your city plans, share screenshots, come up with plans. Some of them even challenge each other to little ideas for their builds to add inspiration. So a great little community around there. We'd love to have more of you joining us. Speaking of that, there's something we haven't talked about since SS2 launched. Well, maybe we have. I haven't thought about it in a long time, and that is the Masters Contest. So the Masters Contest was part of the City Plan Contest, and it was kind of our finale that we would end the season with. And the seasons used to last a year, but we've decided now our seasons are going to instead go with when we've touched all of the settlements. And so the way the Masters Contest worked, it was an invite-only city plan contest, and all you have to do to get an invite is join one of the previous city plan contests in that season. And the Masters Contest is special in a couple of ways. One is as a huge prize. We give out $500 to first place. I don't know what we're going to do this year. We'll talk about that later, but it will be at least that good a prize. And then usually we end up with other people donating additional things to the prize pool to make it a little bit sweeter. So it's a big competition with huge prizes, and usually the building requirements are a little more intense. So usually we focus on people telling a story with all their different levels of their city plan. And then part of the prize is we have professionally narrated videos created with their settlements so that you get a nice little keepsake of your settlement in video form that shows what the story that you told. We try and bring it to life in a little video. It's a little side bonus we do as part of that. So that contest will likely happen in May or June of this year. So you've got just a couple more months to join into the City Plan Contest if you want to score your Masters Contest invite. So highly recommend you join up one of these next couple of contests. Speaking of which, the February one starts now. So let's talk about those settlement options. You've got 3 again this month. We're going with Greentop Nursery, Grey Garden, or Finch Farm. So pick your favorite of those settlements, build whatever you like using Sim Settlements plots, and you can submit that for an entry. If you've never done a city plan, it's pretty easy. I'll have a link below in the description here for a 5-minute tutorial I created on joining those, because the hardest part really is just understanding the different levels and how you build those, and it's pretty straightforward. We've got really great tools to make it easy on you. So with all that said, take care and enjoy the mods.